Good morning, this is Dina, and I'm watching Hunchback of Notre Dame. And it came to the whipping part of the Hunchback. I can't hardly take it. It's too awful and too close to home for me because I didn't have one when I was young, but it's not really that bad. It is there. It's just one of the things I got from all the abuse. Anyway, I still go through the grief process of all that, and they call it post-traumatic stress disease. And I guess since I've had so many things happen to me, they call it complex. But I still go through the grief process. I get angry. I get in denial. I blame people, me, my mom, whoever, my husband, my first husband. And I just lash out in my mind because my mother is dead, and so is my first husband. So they're not there to lash out at. So it's pretty much me lashing out in my mind. Because, like yesterday, I have a few little gardens around the house. My whole yard is gravel, so it's not like I have to do that much yard work. And I do live at a resort, so they take care of it. And since I made those little flower beds, I have to take care of them. And the lawn crew came through, and they blew all the stuff I pulled out of the garden. They blew it right back in. So I went out and pulled weeds yesterday, and I got, I don't know, about 3 feet done, I guess. And I gathered up some, and it's still sitting out there, right there, waiting for me to put it in a bag so that I can put it in a garbage bag. Anyway, it's a never-ending cycle of things that I can't do. Or if I do them, I can't hardly walk the next day. I started shaking all over yesterday, and I had to lay in bed for the rest of the day. And that's difficult. So I still have the remnants, physically and mentally, from those things that happened to me. And that's why I'm so adamant about having people get away from that situation, no matter what. Because the longer you take it, the more destructive they're going to get. And the more abuse you're going to have to go through. They're not going to stop. They will promise. You will believe. You will beg. They will say yes. They'll say they love you. They'll say this is for your own good. Blah, 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 blah. My mother said, this hurts me more than it does you. And then she just kept on beating. And guess what? It probably did hurt her hand. But when she beat me after I was on the floor because I fainted, and she got me unconscious, and she kept beating on me while I was unconscious, well, that was a bit too far. She shouldn't have done that. Because I'm pretty lucky that I'm not paralyzed completely from her doing that. Because my spine has got so much damage to it that it's the equivalent of 2 life-threatening auto accidents that I got from my mother's love. So, when someone beats on you, I'm not talking a spanking. I'm not talking swatting you on the butt because you did something wrong and then grounding you. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that have total control over you and won't let you see family or friends or this or that. And you're pretty much roped into believing the world that they say is. My mom was great at that. And I fell for it, and I believed it, and it was all a lie. And part of the stuff that I believed was what I wished was happening. Because everything was so awful, I kind of lived in this dreamy world of what I did for my siblings, and then I projected that onto my mother, thinking that she was a good mother. My mom was the best mom. Because any little bit of love or tenderness that she showed me, I swept everything else under the carpet in my memory. It just disappeared. Just like she didn't do it. And I believed she wouldn't do it again. Because I was trying to be such a good girl. Because I was trying to make 5 kids' beds and do all the laundry and all the dishes and cook all the meals and sneak all the snacks. And in the summertime, we were starved. I was starved. In the, it just goes on and on and on, all the things she did. So, if you're taking that kind of situation in the least bit as an adult, as an older child, get out. They're never going to stop. Go get some help, because when you leave, you're going to miss them and you're going to want to go back. When I left my mom, I was in an apartment and I was alone and I got to do what I wanted. And I didn't have to tell anybody what I was doing or why I was doing it or where I was going. And I went to bed at 10 o'clock every night. And I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I finished high school all by myself. So nobody had to beat me to do anything and get anything done. I already took care of it. Nobody had to do anything. I took care of it all. And I was a good girl for myself. But that didn't stop my vulnerability and my poor little blood from dripping, and the sharp to smell it and to zone in on me. So, because I wasn't completely healed, of course, and I didn't tell anybody what my mom had done, why I had moved out, things like that. I never told anybody. And, you know, when people came over, like even my friends, even my big brother's friends came over, they had no idea. We all played the perfect little family game. So, you know, it was just like when she would bruise me all the way, and teachers would see it or find out, and they would turn her in. And when they came, I denied it all. I said, no, they never did that. She never did that. Nobody ever did it. No. And of course, I don't even remember making up the lies to cover up it all. You ever done that? You ever lied to cover up what they did to you? You ever fallen down the stairs when really they did something bad to you and you can't admit it? You know what that means? That means you need to get out. You've got to find a way to get out, because the only way to stop the abuse is to get away. And if you need help, you have to reach out and get help. I met a guy that was getting married, and he was on his bachelor party and all this crazy stuff, and he was a nice guy. The gang from the bar that I went to all went out for breakfast, and this guy went out for breakfast with us, and his bachelor party was over, and some of the guys that he knew came, and some of my friends were there and stuff. So after we ate and all that, he hopped in the car with me and wanted to talk to me. And so we sat there and chatted and everything, and I told him I was married. And he said, I'm getting married and all this jazz. And I said, yeah, you're at your bachelor party. I kind of figured that. And he started telling me, how beautiful I was and all this stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, whatever. So, when I was young, I was nice looking, so I had heard it a lot. It was all a big bunch of blowhard crap, right? So, then he started asking me questions. And I thought, how in the hell did he know stuff? Well, I don't know if I had bruises on me. I don't know what gave it away. Something gave it away. Like, I had them handprint bruises on me or something. I don't know. Anyway, he knew that I was getting abused. And he told me, he says, I don't know you very well. And I don't need to know you very well. You do not deserve that. And he's never going to stop. And he said it right to my face. Right to my face. And I just looked at him and I just went, Of course, he reached over and kissed me, blah, 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 whatever. But my mind was still spinning on the fact that he knew. And he had to tell me. He had to tell me that I had to get away. I had to find a way to get away. So I, pushed him away and told him thank you. And we have to stay. Nice people have to do the right thing. Like, not mess around. Because we can't live with messing around on our husbands and things like that. Because we're nice people. So I went home with that in the back of my mind. And Brad and I, of course, got into a fight because I was still married and it was my turn to go out. So, I went out. I think, he let me go out at midnight. So, the bars close at 2. So he expected me home at 2. Well, I went to Perkins and had breakfast, and then I talked to that guy. Heck, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning before I got home. So, of course, he was pissed. And the whole time we're fighting, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't deserve this. A perfect stranger was practically willing to call off his marriage and marry me because I was so damn nice and I didn't deserve the abuse I was getting. I didn't deserve to go out alone, unprotected from men like him. All that kind of malarkey, which, he really shocked me with all that. And he was just like, kind of like an angel sent my way. So, my firstborn son got up and, we were fighting and he was mad and all this stuff. And he's still carrying on. I haven't had no sleep. I have to stay up the whole day and take care of my kids now. He's going to take off because guess what? It's Sunday and it's his day again. Friday, Saturday was mine, which I only was supposed to get 2 hours, but whatever. And, it had been probably 6 months to a year since he let me go out and do anything. My friend Kathy knew. She would come and get me once in a while, but, I didn't have any time to myself. But that night I did. I had time to myself. And a revelation was unfolded for me. So he got mad. He was pushing me. He knocked me. There was a little step in the house. The one room went up one step, and he shoved me down that step. And I landed on my back, and I lost my breath. And then when I got my breath, I needed a bag because I was hyperventilating. I was having an anxiety attack. Because that man that I left at the parking lot and told him thank you and had him get out, and I gave him a big hug and I told him I needed him. He was the perfect guy, the perfect moment, and go be a perfect husband. And I'm laying there, can't breathe. He just shoved me, and he's sitting there smiling. You know, that smirky little smile. And my son, Bradley, he grabs the phone and calls 911. Brad shoved him so hard that the phone pulled out of the wall, disconnected, whatever. And Bradley stopped at the wall, and the phone hit him. And his dad did that so hard that he puked. Well, that did it. I looked in the paper, and I looked in the Hy-Vee Trader, and somebody had an apartment, and I was to inquire at a bookstore. So I thought it would be above the bookstore, and I thought, well, it's better than nothing, and it shouldn't be too expensive. So I went up there and talked to them, and they said, oh, it's their son, and Paul would talk to me and all this stuff. So his wife shows up, takes me over to the apartment, and tells me it's $240 a month. And I think, well, let's do it. So we go over there, and I'm telling her what's going on. So she said, how long do you need to get out? And I said, I'm going to have to save up for the deposit. And I told her why, because Brad steals my paycheck. It's going to take me some fighting. It's going to take me some doing. It's going to take me probably getting beat, slapped, shoved, whatever, okay? It's going to take some. And I'm going to have to protect my son and get this apartment. So she says, okay, I'll paint it and stuff like that, and I'll have it ready for you. And this is in September, okay? And she said, basically, in, 2 months. And I say, okay. So I get the money rounded up and I pay the deposit. And then I've got the money for rent. And whatever happened between September and December 21st, I can't remember. It was so horrible, I can't remember. But I had the money, and I got the apartment. My son, he blew it. After we looked at the apartment the first time, we came home, and Bradley says, guess what? We got an apartment. And his dad says, we're moving? And he says, not you. Oh, gosh. I never even thought about keeping Bradley from knowing so that he wouldn't spill the beans. Oh my gosh. Oh, that kid. Oh my gosh. Anyway, he understood. He knew what was happening, and he was okay with it. He understood why we had to leave. We didn't really talk about it, but I'm sure he understood because he just was thrilled to death about it. He couldn't even hold it in for a millisecond. So, yeah. His life probably wasn't very good either. I know I wouldn't have let Brad hurt him because no way. I'd rather take it myself than let a kid get in there, because I was that way for my brothers and sisters. So Mama Bear wouldn't even let anyone lay a hand on my kid. No. I never spanked him. I sure the hell wouldn't let nobody else. Anyway, we got out, and Brad didn't know when it was going to happen, and he kept stealing my money and making sure I didn't have any and blah, blah, blah. Well, he kind of forgot that I got paid mileage and stuff like that. So basically, I had to do it with my mileage checks. And luckily for me, guess what? They were sending me everywhere in the county. I mean, everywhere. So my mileage check was big. And I had to supplement it with a little bit of my money. But he got to steal most of my check, because I cashed it and had it in my purse, which if I put it in the bank, he would write a check for more than what I put in. So he would try to ruin my credit and things like that. So I absolutely could not do that. And anyway, that's how I got away. That's how I got away. I just moved out. I was bound and determined he wasn't going to lay a hand on my kid ever again. And that guy put it in my head that I didn't deserve it either. So that's why it's so important for you to know you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it at all. And I want you to get out. I want you to have a great life after you get out. And meet nice people. And recognize those sharks that are sniffing your vulnerable blood, your good blood, your goodness, for goodness sake, blood, okay? And have the life of O'Reilly. Have peace and quiet and no harm. It's wonderful. It's so wonderful at first. I can't even explain it. You're gonna miss it. Feel not worthy of having such a wonderful life. It's gonna be tragic. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be worth it. Yep, it's gonna be worth it. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman or who you are. If you're taking that kind of abuse, you get out. And you get help so you don't pick another one. And you don't let them pick you. I better get off of here. I've been blabbing for a while. I just want you to know that if you comment below and you ask me for help, I'll talk about it and I'll provide you the knowledge I have. And everything will get better for you. I just want you to know I am in your corner. I have been through this, and I will help you get through it. Okay? Hugs and kisses and much love.